the host of the Gridiron.
Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to help support my channel now, in the description box below, very top link in the description box, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And also, finally, just below that link, there's another link takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group down there 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, all that stuff said and done. Well, there we are, guys. 3 more games to go. And thank goodness the season will be over. Thank goodness our pain will be, for the time being, subsided. But I mean, obviously in the offseason, the mounting excitement of the offseason, what's going to happen with Shane and Daboll. Both are going to stay. One going to come. One will go. One going to stay. Yeah, I mean, you don't know who's the quarterback going to be. We're going to draft in a quarterback. What pick do we get? It's a lot of excitement, right? So that's unfortunately, that's the excitement that we have to look forward to now, because this season was over a long time ago. So we got this game here, the Falcons. It's going to be interesting, obviously, because with Penix, right, first start ever. Cousin was. Oh man, we're gonna go over Cousins in a little bit. My goodness, talking about. I mean, people think that like Daniel Jones, held up. Stick him up. This is a robbery, right? Stuck the Giants up. I mean, my goodness, the money that Cousins made. Holy cow. I mean, Jones looks like a bargain compared to what Cousins did. I mean, wow. But just some stuff here real fast about the preview. I mean, obviously it's kind of like, the excitement is, for us Giant fans, if this was the first game of the season, the excitement, maybe we score a touchdown, maybe think about maybe getting 20 points in it, maybe, could we win the game, the excitement there, but when you're 2-12 and you got a real good chance of maybe being 2-15, but you have to play the games. You never know if a couple bad bounces go the Giants' way, or a call here goes against the Falcons or something, and Penix just gets overmatched or whatever. Hey, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen because, obviously with Locke being in there, right? He's got more experience. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we're on the road. We do play better on the road. The Falcons are 7-7, I believe. So it's a big game for them because they're fighting for their. Now, I don't think I don't know. Things would have to fall really, really in their favor for them to get a. I don't even know if they could. I guess they still have an outside shot, maybe, and a wild card. But I mean, so much would have to go in their favor for them to get a wild card. I mean, possibly. There's still 3 games to go. But basically what they're kind of staring down right now is the division title. That's their biggest, Yeah, because they're 7-7, the Bucs are 8-6. So it's a huge game for them. It's just a bit odd. I mean, because they're they had their starter Cousins in there, was in there all year long, pulled them out. They're still fighting for a division title and putting the rookie in there. But I guess whether they I don't know. I mean, Cousins is just. I mean, last 5 games, Cousins has 1 touchdown pass and 9 interceptions. So at the rate he's going, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Giants coming in, that's almost like a get right game. You figure Cousins would, maybe go off on the Giants, but so they're putting Penix in, and they still have a chance to win the division title. So it's going to be interesting. But I saw a couple articles here about some stuff here. Let's see. This one is a long one here. Got 10 things to watch in the Giants-Falcons game if you're going to watch the game. Of course, Drew Lock returns as the starter. Giants endured some more turnover at the quarterback position this past Sunday, with Drew Lock limited to serving as the team's emergency third quarterback. DeVito got his second start of the season. However, DeVito obviously suffered a concussion, and then Boyle had to go in. It was just what a freaking mess. So heading into week 16, the Giants intend to turn back to Lock as the team's starting quarterback. Head coach Brian Daboll announced to the media prior to Wednesday's practice. Lock missed last week's game due to a heel and a left elbow injury. Well, we're going to talk more about that in another portion of our program. Let's see. I mean, then of course, as Locke was missing that game due to a heel and elbow injuries, DeVito played almost the whole first half, right? And suffered a concussion. He completed 10 out of 13 passes for a whopping 68 yards prior to suffering the head injury. I mean, that's the thing with him. It was what is that? 39.52. I mean, it's like 5 yards a pass attempt. I mean, that's horrible. That's horrible. You want to get 7-8 yards a pass attempt. That's bad. He's a dinker and a dunker. I mean, the all-time series. Let's see here. Be the 25th regular season meeting between the Giants and the Falcons. The Falcons holding the 14-11 series lead. The Giants have won 3 of the last 5 road games against the Falcons. Now, this is the all-time, the Trivial Pursuit question, right? Is who did the Falcons beat for the first ever win in franchise history? Ta-da! You got it. The 1966 New York Football Giants. Oh, yeah. Well, that team was 1-12-1. So the thing was, it was so embarrassing, right, is that in 1966, when you were expansion team back in those days, you came in, you were usually pretty bad. You know what I mean? But that year, the Falcons in 1966, their first year in existence, actually had a better record than the Giants did. I mean, it just goes to show you how bad the Giants were in 1966. Giants won 12-1. I think the Falcons had wound up with 3 wins, I think, their first year. But, I mean, that's the first victory in Atlanta Falcons franchise history was in 1966. I can't remember what the date was, but against the New York Football Giants. So, but the Falcons hold the all-time lead, 14-11. Obviously, we got Neighbors chasing history. He caught 10 passes for 82 yards and a touchdown against the Ravens, making his third double-digit catch game of the season and his first since week 4. With 3 games remaining on the schedule, Neighbors finds himself tied with Brock Bowers for the rookie lead in receptions with 90. And he also has 2 fewer games. Brock Bowers has played in every game, or had played in, I think, every game or whatever. Meanwhile, Neighbors missed a couple of games due to injury. So while his 901 receiving yards ranks 3rd among rookies, Now, if he played in every game, quite possibly he would have over 1,000 yards receiving. And, but anyway. Burnsy. Good old Burnsy here, right? Giants defense has also been ravaged with injuries this season, especially up front. Dexter Lawrence obviously placed on the injury reserve. Kayvon Thibodeau had a stint on the IR. But one player that's been able to, and obviously Azeez Ojulari, shocking. When have you heard this before? Azeez Ojulari, injured. But obviously one player has been able to fight through various ailments to play every game this season has been Brian Burns. Now you got to give him a lot of credit, man. Even go back to training camp. He's always had something wrong. Always been something wrong with him. Always something. But he's always answered the bell when it comes time, to play. So got to give the guy a lot of credit. On a horrible team, the guy goes out there every week and just plays. I said Michael Penix to make his first start. What's up, buddy? Yeah. Falcons made the news Tuesday night when they announced that the veteran Kirk Cousins was being benched in favor of rookie Michael Penix Jr. Atlanta raised some eyebrows during the offseason when they selected the quarterback out of Washington with the 8th overall pick in the draft, less than 2 months after they signed Cousins to a large multi-year contract. In 14 games this year, Cousins threw for 3,508 yards, 18 touchdowns, and a league-high 16 interceptions, which paved the way for head coach Raheem Morris to make the decision to turn to the rookie. At the beginning of his college career in Indiana, Penix spent his final 2 years at Washington, where he put together his best 2 seasons. 6'2", 220-pound lefty, he threw for 4,641 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions in 2022. Followed up with a 4,903 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions last year. His passing yards in his final season led the nation and helped him earn a runner-up finish in Heisman Trophy. So it's going to be interesting. He's got some tools, but, how many quarterbacks come out of college, good stats, and don't do well in the pros? But it's going to be very interesting. I hope it doesn't do good against the Giants, but I wish the guy nothing but the best. I mean, the one problem that the league has is there's certain positions that there's just, we got 3.900 quadrillion people on the face of the earth, and we can't field 32 quarterbacks in the league. We have a hard time maybe with 32 like left tackles. This is one of the reasons why I think it's very difficult for expansion. Like expanding, whatever. But, expand into more teams. It's like, what are you expand to? You only have 20 quarterbacks in the entire world. So you're going to expand to 40 teams or 36 teams? So you're going to have 20 teams that have quarterbacks and actually take them to Super Bowls. And then you're going to have 20 teams who are just floundering around looking for a quarterback. As I said, there's always quarterbacks out there, but, quarterbacks who play at a high level, and that's one of the problems. This league has is that, it's super competitive. The quarterback position is obviously so difficult. It's not, obviously it ain't easy or everybody be doing it. But so I wish them well. As I said, the league needs, it's exciting, with these young quarterbacks coming in, and you wish them nothing but the best. I said, because, the league needs quarterback. Every year. You go, into the draft, and there's like 6, 7, 8 teams that need quarterbacks every year. And when the next season's over with, guess what? There's another. So, that need quarterbacks every year. Every team obviously winds up having a quarterback, but is that a long-term quarterback? Is that a quarterback can take you to the prom? It's like with the Giants, they've thought maybe Daniel Jones could or whatever. Then he ain't the answer. Drew Lock's not the answer. Tommy DeVito's not the answer. Tim Boyle's not the answer. Daniel Jones is gone. So Giants need a quarterback. Yeah, one of those teams that need quarterbacks. I mean, you look. I mean, you look at the draft. I mean, there's teams every year need quarterbacks. So wish the guy nothing but the best. Obviously, maybe not against the Giants, but hopefully he does well. What's up, buddy? Vinny G-Man's in the house. Say because the league needs quarterbacks. Let's see here. I got whether it's separate or together, Mike McFadden and Michael Penix have been connected for most of their parallel football lives. Tampa natives who were 4-year teammates at Indiana University. They will be opponents for the first time. Interesting. Tomorrow when the Giants visit the Falcons, for whom Penix will make his first NFL start. He's a really talented quarterback, McFadden said this week. Really good player. He can make all the throws. Smart guy, tough dude, mentally tough, and he's one of the most accurate deep passes you'll see. There's never been any doubt about his talent. The question about him has been injuries. He's had so many season-ending injuries in college. Those injuries are a significant part of Penix's story. McFadden and Penix were Hoosiers together for 4 seasons, and in each one, Penix's season ended prematurely. In 2018 and 2020, the culprit was a torn ACL. His sophomore season was cut short by a dislocated SC joint in his non-throwing shoulder, and 2 years later, it was a dislocated joint in his left shoulder. Now, the one thing is, is you figure, I don't know, obviously, I don't know, but, was his injuries due to getting hit multiple times? I don't know. So, I mean, maybe coming, the Giants, some of the, I see some comments. Why did we draft Penix? Like in some of these groups and stuff like that. Well, I mean, if the guy's has had 4 season-ending injuries in college, and he's going to stand behind this offensive line, and we can't even get guys to make it to half a game without getting injured at the quarterback position. I mean, what do you think Penix is going to do? I mean, it's just so. Like I said, I wish they got nothing but the best, but imagine if Penix was on the Giants, Neil would be in. Oh, woo. Good times. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Man, that's. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Said the 2 Floridians parted ways in 2022, and McFadden obviously went to the Giants with the 5th pick. Penix transferred to Washington in his 2 seasons in Seattle. He threw for 9,500 yards, 67 touchdowns. Also playing just 20 snaps and throwing 5 passes in the Falcons' first 14 games. Penix will become the first quarterback to make his NFL starting debut versus the Giants since Dak Prescott did on September 11, 2016. That was the 2016. Actually we beat them that game. That was the first game of the season against Dallas in 2016. That was the year that we went to the playoffs in 2016. That was Victor Cruz's final touchdown reception in a New York Giants uniform. Let's see. Giants anticipate Penix will test their secondary with deep passes. Now, one of the things that we heard us last week, right, was Jackson had some deep. We had some deep ball problems with him. So, and I tell you, needless to say, the Falcons have some good weapons. So that could be something. Penix's history. If he's got a chance to throw it down the field, he's going to throw it down the field. Defensive backs coach Jerome Henderson said there are going to be times when we're going to give him looks, or he's going to get looks because of the situation or because of the coverage that he's going to see. I get a chance to push it. I anticipate in those moments he's going to push the ball. I anticipate in those moments us being ready for him to push the ball and hopefully make some plays that when he does. Well, I hope so. We got 2 interceptions on the season. We certainly could use some more. Penix is obviously replacing Cousins, who's threw 9 interceptions and 1 touchdown pass in the last 5 games. The Falcons defeated the Raiders, obviously, on Monday night in Vegas to break a 4-game losing streak. They won 15-9. They had a block, 2 punts. They had a safety. I mean, the Raiders are just, they're reeling. It's going to be interesting this week, right? Tomorrow, I guess it's tomorrow, right? You got the Raiders and the Jags playing. Got to pull for the Raiders on that one. I think O'Connell's supposed to be coming back, I think. That's what they said. So, yeah, no, got to pull for the Raiders. That might be the Raiders' last chance of winning the game. So, with a change this late in the season, we know he's going to try and sling it. Jason Pinna said, right? You know, he's going to try to prove a point. With a rookie quarterback coming in, we know that they want to let 7 running back Robinson control the game a little bit. But we're going to be ready for Penix. Again, the defensive backs take some chances against a rookie who has thrown only 5 passes. I think he's completed 3 out of 5. I don't think he takes chances, Henderson says. I think more hopefully force mistakes. Hopefully talk him into bad decisions, make him feel stressed post-snap, pre-snap. That's what you're trying to do all the time with the quarterback, to make him feel pre-snap pressure. I mean, the Giants could certainly, without question, need to get some turnovers. That would be huge. I mean, my goodness. Jeez. Says here, Penix has a true NFL arm and can throw the football into the tightest of windows. He has an excellent combination of arm strength, velocity, and deep ball accuracy. He does have some gunslinger in him. Well, you know, that's the one thing Tommy DeVito doesn't have. I mean, that's why, you know, DeVito doesn't necessarily throw like interceptions, because he doesn't necessarily, you know, there's the good and the bad with DeVito. It's like he doesn't really throw interceptions, which is good. But he really doesn't throw interceptions, which is bad, because it's, you know, it's like, you know, he doesn't take a lot of chances, which once again is good. You don't want to be the reason why your team lost, but he doesn't take those chances, those deep chances or whatever, to try to throw the ball in, maybe if he has a chance. And that's why, I mean, he threw the ball 13 times, completed for 68 yards. It's like a little over 5 yards a pass attempt, which is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yeah. Now, once again, you got to play the games. This is a, you know, big game for Atlanta. They certainly have some weapons. They're not a phenomenal team. Anything can happen. But I mean, as we're going to see it here in just a minute, you know, I mean, the Giants are just so banged up. I mean, even the guys that maybe go in and play, as we see, you know, we might have a nice crew of guys in there, but, you know, are they 100%? You know, it will be interesting to see how the Giants, their secondary, holds up against the Falcons. You know, because Robinson's a very good running back. Atlanta has a very good, I think it was the run blocking according to PFF. Atlanta is very high, and Atlanta usually has a very good, according to PFF. They grade out very well. Their offensive line grades out very, very well. So the Giants might have a hard time getting to Penix. You know, Robinson's a very good running back. You know, and he certainly has some very good weapons. He's got a lot of. Let me go over this here real fast. I mean, he's got quite a few receivers at, you know, quite a few catches. Let's see here at Atlanta. All right, here we go. I mean, it's quite a few. You know. Now, of course, this is with Cousins in there, so that, you know, all these stats. But Robinson, their running back, is 54 receptions. Drake London, don't forget about him. He has 78 receptions. He's averaging almost 12 yards a reception. He has 7 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney, he has 57 receptions. He's averaging 15 yards a reception. He has 5 touchdown receptions. Ray McLeod, he's got 54. So they're three of their three wide receivers, London, Mooney, and McLeod, have 78, 57, and 54 receptions. And then the running back coming out of the backfield, Robinson, has over 1,100 yards rushing, 4.6 yards a carry. And he has 400. He has over 15. Robinson has over 1,500 all-purpose yards. So, I mean, the running back coming out of the backfield has got 54, and the three wide receivers got 78, 57, and 54. And then don't forget about Kyle Pitts, right? He's averaging 13 yards in reception. He has 3 touchdowns. He has 40 receptions. You would think, definitely would have thought that with Pitts, I mean, as high of where they drafted him at, you thought he would, be having some like Evan Ingram numbers, like what Evan Ingram had like last year, had over 100 receptions at Jacksonville. I mean, man, you think that Pitts would be like going off the charts. I mean, but it's just not the case. But don't forget, Atlanta's got a good line, really good running back, and 3 good receivers, and Pitts as the tight end. So they don't have the greatest defense in the world, but you don't need the greatest defense in the world against the Giants because our offense stinks. So it'll be interesting, right? You got to play the games. Anything is possible. We can somehow be sitting here thinking, how did the Giants win 24-23 tomorrow? Anything's possible, The thing, it'd be exciting to see a win, but in the grand scheme of things, nothing would be more cataclysmic for the New York Football Giants than a win. Because I did a video, I don't know, I'm an idiot, I can't remember. It was this past week. It's about as much as I can remember. Where the worst thing for the Giants would be to win a football game. Now, of course, you're not telling Daboll this, Daboll's not telling his players this. Guys, we need to lose. That's not happening. They're going out to win the football game. No question. But the most damaging thing to the Giants would be to win a game because with their strength of schedule is rather high. If they were to win a game and get 3 wins, they would go from second place. I've seen we're number 1, we're number 2, whatever. But I think that we would go from second place to down like number 7 because our strength of schedule is so tough. Schedule is so tough. So then that would put us out of, we would get a decent player. There's decent players out there, but that would pretty much eliminate us from any quarterbacks. If we were thinking of Shador or Cam Ward, forget about those guys. So, but once again, anything's possible. But, with talking Giants, of course, you got to talk, right? Oh, yeah, you got to talk injuries, right? So, unfortunately, Bobby Okereke, I'm not exactly sure, if it's the scheme, Bowen's scheme is whereas Okereke, it was not as effective this season as he was last year under Wink's, defense. But, Okereke had a very nice season. It just wasn't what he had the year before. He seemed like he was everywhere, But his season's over. I got some injuries and moves. And, of course, obviously the Giants, injuries, right? But I got to find him here. All right. Bobby Okereke. Season is over. Giants place him and Patrick Johnson on IR. So obviously, you don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure out, right? You get put on the IR, you got to miss 4 games. Well, if you only got 3 games left in the season, you got to miss at least 4 games. Their season's over, right? I tell you what, I wonder, I'd love to see if Saleh would come in here. I mean, he did a really good job with the 49ers. I'm sure there's some good guys out there, but, I wonder if, Saleh, he's not going to the Jets or not like that. But, nobody's going to hire him, I don't think, as a coach right off the bat. But I think, he did some really good things with the 49ers, their defense. That's the reason why he got the job with the Jets, or one of the reasons, with Bowen, what his run defense was supposed to be good. good in the red zone, but it's it's been a mixed bag with him. I mean, I'm not overly thrilled to death. I mean, we're still, well, I mean, even with Dexy in there and Burnsy and all that, we were still getting gashed and we got Okereke running around. And you'd think we'd be making more tackles and our run defense would be better, but got 2 interceptions on the season. Right? I mean, who would have guessed? Trey Hawkins is the only defensive back that has an interception for the Giants. We played 14 seasons. We played 14 games. We got 1 interception from a defensive back. I mean, that's horrible. That's horrible. As usual, on the day before a game, the Giants on Saturday announced a series of roster moves to fortify the roster before facing the Atlanta Falcons. Giants added linebacker Bobby Okereke and edge defender Patrick Johnson to their already overcrowded injured reserve list. Okereke, defensive captain, played every snap for the Giants last season. This is the first season in which he has missed a game since 2020. Giants are signing safety Raheem Lane to the 53-man roster from the practice squad. Greg Stroman, who did not practice this week due to a shoulder and shin injuries, did not travel to Atlanta with the team and has been ruled out. Giants are also elevating 2 players from their practice squad for the game. Edge Boogie Basham, right? Remember Boogie? And offensive tackle Tyree Phillips. There you go. Remember him, huh? Giants should also get cornerbacks Deonte Banks with a rib, Andrew Phillips with a shoulder back on Sunday. Banks has missed 3 games. Phillips has missed the last 2 games. I mean, we certainly missed those guys. I mean, without question, missed them big time. Let's see here. Whoops. Giants will head south to take on the Falcons, hoping to stop a 9-game slide. Okereke was ruled out for Week 16 on Friday as he deals with a back injury that has knocked him out of consecutive contests. He has not played since Thanksgiving Week 13 loss to the Cowboys. So that's all. I mean, it's a back. Let's hope. Now the thing is with obviously with the back, is it something I pull a muscle in my back? Is that what it is? Or are we talking the back, the spine? Something, a disc or something knocked out of place or whatever, could be either one. And, hopefully it's just a muscle pull or something like that. You start messing around with that thing that runs up and down the inside of your back there. And it runs up and through your neck and all that. So certainly wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully, he'll take the season, obviously the rest of the season off, and he'll be ready to rock and roll next year. When the new season rolls around. Let's see. Because all things considered with Okereke, right? He will finish with 2 fewer interceptions than he had last season. He'll finish with 56 fewer tackles than he had last season and 5 fewer tackles for loss. Part of that can be put on a switch on the sidelines. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen took over for Wink Martindale as he turned the New York's unit into a less aggressive one. The results have stagnated across the board, with Bowen in danger of holding his job for just a single season. Well, that's possible. That is possible. I mean, there were certainly times, where you look at who we had out there. I mean, I'm not saying we were the greatest defense of all time, but you look at we put some good players out there, and we're not getting some very good results. It certainly makes you think, right? What you want to try to do is put your players in the best position to be successful. You want to put your players, use their strengths in their favor. Now, is Bowen doing that or no? Why are we still getting gashed in the running game and all that? Don't know. But, there's a possibility he could be bye-bye, right? I'll have to wait and see. That's another one of the moves that we'll have to wait and see. Ending this year on injury reserve is a fitting and given end the Giants' struggles to stay healthy. Left tackle Andrew Thomas, defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, and guard John Runyon Jr. will all end the season with the same designation, and shorter absences have made life difficult in a lost season. Okereke has emerged as a safe bet to end the year on the injuries. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. If nothing else, there's now more on the plates of linebackers Mike McFadden and Darius Mewis out for the final 3 games of the season. Then we got, all right, so we got the injury reports. Here we go. So we got, the Giants have like 812 guys listed. They got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 5 guys who are questionable and 4 guys who are out. So Bernsey is questionable with an ankle and a neck. Deonte Banks is still questionable with a rib. He was limited in participation like all week long. So we'll have to wait and see about Banks. Then you got Tyrone Tracy, who's questionable with an ankle. He was limited in participation Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Deontay Johnson, he's questionable with an ankle. And Austin Schlotman, however you want to pronounce it, with a fibula, he's still questionable. And then, of course, the guys, Patrick Johnson, because don't forget we got the 2 Johnsons. We got Deontay Johnson, inside linebacker, and then we got Patrick Johnson, the outside linebacker. He's out with a knee. Patrick Johnson, Bobby Okereke, Aaron Stinney, and Greg Stroman did not participate at all, practice like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're all been ruled out. So Patrick Johnson, Bobby Okereke, Aaron Stinney, and Greg Stroman. There. So we got 4 guys ruled out. Of course, I said, then there was like Dane Belton was on here with the knee, Tommy DeVito with his concussion, Corey Durden with his shoulder, Cordell Flott with a quad and a finger, Art Green with a shoulder, Drew Lock with his heel and left elbow, Chris Manhertz with an ankle, Malik Neighbors with a knee and a foot. Once again, you got to give that dude all the credit in the world. He's been, for whatever reason, always dealing with some kind of something. And the guy goes out there and plays all the time. The only couple games he missed was because of concussion. He had to stay out for those. Nacho with a neck and shoulder. Drew Phillips, he had a shoulder. Wan'Dale Robinson, he had a shoulder. John Michael Schmitz, he had an ankle. But apparently none of those guys have game time designation. So apparently all those guys are good to go. But we got 5 guys who are questionable and 4 guys are ruled out. Now, of course, I mean, it's absolutely, hold on, let me count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was 21, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, 21. Johnny said 21 guys with some type of ailment. 21. Falcons have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Falcons got 9. Less than half of what the Giants have. It just absolutely unbelievable. They got 1 guy, Casey Washington, with a concussion. He's out. Other than that, they got 2 guys who are questionable. So they got 1 guy out and 2 questionable. We got 4 out and 5 questionable. So they have 3 guys with game times designations. We got 9. We have 3 times the amount of guys listed with a game time as the other team. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And the thing is that, something you can look at, like with these injuries, is it's kind of like, a lot of say, is it the turf? Could be, but Atlanta plays on turf, right? Right? So it makes you wonder. It's every year. I mean, as I said, I how can the Giants go out there every year and just get totally decimated by injuries. And some of these other teams, and especially some of these other teams, I mean, I can see like with the Eagles, because they play on grass. Some of these other teams maybe play on grass. Maybe, but there's other teams out there that do play on turf that, stay relatively healthy. How do they do it? And how come the Giants can't? Absolutely unbelievable. So let's see here. I got, there we go. So real fast. Got tackle Caleb McCary. He was listed with an elbow, but he'll be playing. Hodge, their wide receiver, he's questionable. He has ribs. Ross Dwelly, going to say, their tight end. He has an ankle, but he looks like he's going to play. Charlie Werner, their tight end. He's going to play, but he had a quad injury. Casey Washington, as I said, he was ruled out with a concussion. Harris, their defensive lineman, he had illness and a problem with his neck, but he'll be playing. Lorenzo Carter, we remember him. He's questionable with a groin. Be interesting to see if he gets on the field, to see if he tries to get a sack or so against his former team. Safety Richie Grant, he had an illness, but he'll be good to go. And Drake London with a knee, but he's good to go. So once again, I mean, the Falcons are look like I'm pretty much a full cast of characters out there, so that they'll be ready to rock and roll. So it's gonna be interesting to see, very very interesting to see, especially with with Penix out there. I said not against the Giants, but I wish the dude all the best. I hope the guy can stay healthy. He seems like he's on a good team with a good offensive line. Now, of course, he's going to get hit. He's going to get sacked. It's part of the game. But, I think that maybe Atlanta might give him at least a better run for the money than if he was on the Giants team, where he's just going to get totally pummeled behind this offensive line. So I said, I wish the guy nothing but the best. I said, the league needs more quarterbacks, and so I hope he's one. I hope he's one of the answers. He's part of the solution. I hope he is. So, all right. Then I seen this, and of course, all the Daniel Jones. It was nice. It was a nice, right, a classy kind of move, right? He went out and obviously with some of his money, and like what most quarterbacks wind up doing, right, is taking care of their offensive linemen for Christmas, right? Some guys go out and, there's all kinds of stuff. I know a lot of them also is like, watches, Rolex watches, right? You go out and buy the offensive lineman that. You spend whatever, 10, 20 grand, whatever a Rolex watch goes for. I'm sure you can get a lot more than that. But, you buy 5 guys or 6, 7 guys, whatever, I don't know. Some Rolex watches. But if you're Daniel Jones and you're making $40 million a year, of course, he's not putting $40 million a year in his pocket. He's probably maybe putting half of that in his pocket, maybe. But you gotta put some money aside for your gifts. So now what he did was tequila. So if he gifted me, I don't drink. So if he gifted me the tequila, I would love it. I'm sorry, I would treasure it, this, that, and the other thing, and all. It would just might be a while before I drank some of it. It would have to be a really special occasion because I don't drink. It makes me tired. But let's see. So Daniel Jones gifts his former offensive lineman for the holidays. He sent a very special gift to his former Giants offensive lineman for the holidays. Very, very classy, right? Former quarterback Daniel Jones remembers his O-lineman for the holidays. Daniel Jones isn't a member of the Giants organization anymore, but that doesn't mean that he's not appreciative of the efforts made by every single one of his former offensive linemen this year. Jones, pre-ESPN, gifted his offensive lineman with a limited edition bottle of, I don't know if it's Class A Azul. I do know Azul. For the holiday season as a sign of his appreciation for their efforts on his behalf. That's a mighty generous gift from Jones, now a member of the Vikings. Vikings practice squad after requesting and being granted his release by the Giants. Depending on the product purchased, each gift could have cost as much as $19,000. That's a very expensive bottle of tequila. $19,000. Although the Giants only won 2 games with Jones at the helm, the offensive line, which began to deteriorate due to injuries, is charged with allowing 29 sacks and 94 pressures. Now, I saw, I don't know if it's Class A or Class Azul, but I saw there was one, it's, the one, he said, it was a limited edition. So, I mean, I saw online here with some of these bottles, for tequila, it could be like $100 or something like that. Obviously, that's not what he gifted them. But there was another one here, the Azul Tequila Ultra 5-year, 750 milliliter bottle. It sold for $10,000. So that's a 5-year bottle. Maybe he bought him a 10-year bottle. Now, I do know with Chivas Regal, I used to buy this was back in the 80s. I used to buy him like a 20-year-old bottle of Chivas Regal. He used to drink that. And, of course, that was expensive. I mean, you get a 10-year bottle of Chivas Regal was whatever, 40, I mean, it's 30, 40, I'm talking about 40 years ago. Well, the 20-year bottle of Chivas Regal is even more. So maybe, so I saw on there was a 5-year bottle of this Azul Tequila. 5 years was $10,000. So I don't know if maybe they have like a 10-year bottle or something like that, where they just age it for 10 years and it gets that much better. I don't know. Where it could be. So he said, it could be worth up to $19,000 a bottle. It's like, holy cow. I mean, that's just crazy. As I said, for me, it would last me a long time because I don't drink, but I saw with Brock Purdy, okay, he went out of his way and he gifted his offensive lineman. I don't know if it was when he went there's a video you can see. He had his offensive lineman sitting in a room and he came in and he says, all right, guys, sorry to make you wait. Everybody has to come outside, and everybody walked outside. I said, I don't know if there was 10 of them there, but he had 10 vehicles there. Now, I don't know if there was 5 or 6 guys or so, but there was 5 Toyota Sequoias and 5, was it Highlanders? I think it was. Now, I guess they went out and they picked which one maybe they wanted. Let me scroll down this thing here. I mean, Tundras. Oh, okay. So we either got him a Sequoia or a Toyota Tundra, which is like a, it's got a bed to it. They would look like they were all white. Oh, wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They looked like there was 8 guys there. So it's 8. So it looked like there was 8 guys. So and it's kind of like, I mean, because how much Daniel Jones is making. I mean, it's like Brock Purdy's making like not a lot. And he gifted, there was a picture of like, I guess 9 guys there. I guess 8 of them were the offensive linemen, and Brock Purdy was there. So he had 5, I guess there was 10 vehicles there, 5 Sequoias and 5 Tundras. Now, what do the guys want? A Sequoia, right? Which I've had before, which is a nice inside, everything's inside, right? Or the Tundra, which it's nice, but you got the bed to it. So the guys go in there, pick out whatever they wanted. But I mean, that's expensive. I mean, holy cow. And they had a bad season too. But I mean, if you look at it, I mean, it's like Read the story. He went in. The guys were all sitting in the room, and Brock Purdy goes like, "Boys, I just want to say Merry Christmas. I got some gift for you guys. Sorry for the wait, but if you want to follow me outside," Purdy said in a video shared by the team on social media. Once outside, the team saw 9 brand new cars. Okay. I thought he said 10. All right, 9, 5 Sequoias and 4 Toyota Tundras. And one of the guys said, "Oh my God, I can't believe this." Offensive tackle Nick Zakelj said with a laugh. "Listen to the purr," guard Aaron Banks said as he revved the engine. "Purdy. That purr is Purdy." "My mind is blown, honestly," offensive tackle Jalen Moore added. "This is probably the greatest gift I've ever got in my life." Last season, star running back Christian McCaffrey gifted the offensive lineman a custom golf bag. I seen that. I seen the video on that. That was really cool. That was really, really cool. Wasn't as expensive as this Toyota Sequoia, but that was really, really cool. I seen that. A certificate for fitted golf clubs and a bottle of tequila, a gesture usually reserved for the quarterback. "Financially, I wouldn't be able to cover that right now," Purdy joked with reporters at the time. Shout out to him. Everyone loved it. So thank you, Christian. Purdy is still on his rookie deal, a contract that pays him $985,000 this season. Now, I mean, if he gave away his contract is $985,000, just say, and I'm just being generous here, say he gets out of that $985,000, I don't know, $600,000. Even $700,000. I don't even think that. I mean, if he's got an agent, but you figure taxes and all that stuff, $700,000. I mean, he had 9 vehicles there. A Toyota Sequoia. Oh, let me say. I mean, it's got to be 2025. I'm thinking Toyota Sequoia. Say 2025 Toyota Sequoia. All right. This is $80,000. $80,000. So he had $400,000 worth of Toyota Sequoias out there. And the Tundras are almost just as expensive, if not more. I mean, so he had, I mean, like $700,000 worth of vehicles there. And he's making $985,000. That is his final season. Now, hopefully, if everything goes right, you don't know, right? Hopefully, if everything goes right, Purdy will be, rolling in some dough after this season because his rookie, because he was Mr. Irrelevant. Only got 4 years. There's no 5th-year option on him or nothing. So it's either let him go someplace else, or sign him. Now that's one of the problems the 49ers have is they got a lot of high-priced guys on their team. If you sign Purdy to, I don't know, 40 million, I don't know, 50, I don't know, just throwing numbers out there. I mean, unfortunately for them, some of their other players are going to have to go bye-bye. So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, he had like over $500,000 worth of vehicles there. And the guy, as I said, makes $985,000. I mean, holy cow. As the last pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, Mr. Irrelevant stunned fans during his rookie season when he took over as a starting quarterback. The 2022 NFL Draft. Oh. So maybe he's got one more year. Now the 49ers are expected to lock down Purdy with a massive long-term contract extension. Okay, in the offseason. Okay. I think Brock has done nothing but play at a very, very high level, tight end George Kittle said recently of what Purdy's new deal might look like. The nice thing about contracts is when you play at a high level, you can compare yourself to other people in the league. And when other guys are getting paid 50 to 60 million and you're a better quarterback than they are, it's hard not to get that same amount of money. So, I mean, that's true. Absolutely true. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what he winds up getting paid. But I mean, the one problem is that one of the things that's really been beneficial to them is they've had some injuries this year. Some of it's got a little head scratching. They lost some games. They're certainly not the same team they were last year and the year before that. Remember, because the last 2 years, they lost the championship game 2022 to the Eagles, when of course all their quarterbacks were injured, and they at the end of the game they didn't have anybody who could throw a football, and the Eagles beat them. But then last season when the 49ers were healthy and a really good team, they were just functioning on all cylinders. They just pummeled the Eagles. That was a joke. Loved it. But then, of course, they fell a little bit short in the Super Bowl. So you thought, I was thinking like this year, you figure the Lions and the 49ers would be the top two teams, but the 49ers may not even make the playoffs much, win the division, right? And, of course, the Lions, their defense is just so decimated. It's just kind of opening the door for the Eagles, the Packers, and the Vikings. Yeah, the Lions are going to have to basically literally just try to outscore everybody because their defense is just unbelievable how many guys they got injured. You ever saw that Thanksgiving Day game against when they played Chicago? It was like, every other play there was another line limping off the field on defense. It was just unbelievable. And they were talking about going into the game how decimated the Lions were on defense. And like every other play, it seems like they lost like 10 guys on defense who were limping off the field. That was it's unbelievable. So if the Lions are going to have to do anything, they're going to have to, outscore people. But it just goes to show you what some of these the offensive linemen, at least they get some good gifts, right? They get some good gifts. But Purdy, my God, jeez, whew. So hopefully his hopefully in the offseason he gets paid and he can he can afford those trucks. But once again, that was very nice with Eli. Daniel Jones did. That was very, very nice. I'm talking about Eli. I'm talking about him next. But gifting the guys that tried to protect them, this season. So that's an expensive bottle of tequila. But speaking of Eli, right? Right? Don't you really miss Eli right about now? One of those things is just, sometimes when you got it so good, you don't appreciate it, right? You also kind of look at it, like when we had, maybe Coughlin here, right, with Eli, or you can also, if you're old enough or whatever, you can go back in time, and if you were around here with Parcells. We had it pretty good there. Maybe not 83 his first season. We were 3-12-1, but from 84 to 90, we were constant threat. We had 84, 85, we were building in obviously 86, and of course 87 was the scab year. We started the season 0-5, and our season was pretty much over with. We lost the first 2 games of the season, and we lost all 3 of our scab games. So we started off 0-5. So then, of course, 88, we lost the final game of the season. If we'd beaten the Jets, we would have won the division. We would have made the playoffs, but we didn't. But then 89, there was the Flipper Anderson game, And then, of course, 1990, So, but from 84 to 90 were very special years. But like with Eli, you can complain or this or that or whatever you want, all this other stuff about, what his overall winning percentage was, his touchdowns, interception percentage, and all that stuff and everything. But tell you what, man, you look at with with the Giants, the quarterback situation. Not only so much the quarterbacks, but it's just the injuries. It's like we can't even get guys to play a half. DeVito, right? He got injured. He had he played the one game against the Bucs. He got a forearm, and he couldn't go. Right. Then we put Locke in there, right, for 2 games, and he got so banged up in 2 games he couldn't go. So we had to put DeVito back in there, right? And he couldn't even make it a half, and he got a concussion, right? Then we put Boyle in. Thankfully, he was able to, right, make it through the whole game, the rest of the game, without having to come out. But I'll tell you what, it's like, how the hell? Because Eli, after a while, we were having offensive line problems. We had the Fab Five, right, for quite a few years. But then in 2011, some of the guys they weren't all there. Harrow was gone. Some of the guys were getting banged up. I know Snee was there, McKenzie was there, but we started losing guys, and after a while, we were replacing them, but it wasn't the same line we had before. And after Eli was just getting hit a lot. Right? It's kind of like, how does he, every game, how does he make it? I mean, he never missed a game due to injury. Right? It was always a coach's decision to pull him out. Obviously, Daniel Jones' year decided to pull him out. Right? But then Ben McAdoo decided to put Gino in there. Decided to bench, Eli because we weren't doing well. So he's like, well, we need a spark. So let me break Eli Manning's consecutive game streak so I could put Geno Smith in there. And Geno played okay, but he wasn't the answer, But it makes you, man, you go back and you got it here. I mean, let's see here. Go back to 2019. Right? I mean, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, let's say. I know he wound up missing, I think he wound up missing a game or so due to injury. Let me see here. Let's see here. In 2020. Let's see here. 2020, right? We had Daniel Jones, but he missed some time. Then we had to put Colt McCoy in there. Right? That was, I remember Colt McCoy wound up, we beat the Seahawks that year in the COVID year. Right? But Daniel Jones missed some time. He got injured. Not Eli Manning, right? Eli Manning, second season, played every game. 2021. Oh my God, remember this one? Remember this year? Oh my God. And again, right? Daniel Jones, Mike Lennon, Jake from State Farm. Remember those guys? Right? Remember those guys? Well, once again, Daniel Jones injured. Couldn't even make it through a season, injured. And I said with Glennon and Jake Fromm, oh my God. Wow. Between Glennon and Fromm, they threw 5 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. My God. So that was 2021. That was just absolutely horrible. Now 2022 was a good year. That was a good year. Let's see, we had Daniel Jones played. Davis Webb played the final game of the season. Remember that? We went to Philadelphia, and Davis Webb scored. After that, he retired. Put him in there, right? We were 9-6-1. We lost the final game to the Eagles. Close, wound up being a close game. But Davis Webb was in there. Of course, we had Tyrod Taylor in there. But Tyrod Taylor would get injured all the time. He was a walking injury. So was Daniel Jones. But that was the good year. Daniel Jones actually played all 16 games. That was a small miracle right there. Then you go to last year, right? Then you had Daniel Jones played in 6 games. He got injured twice, right? Remember, he got injured 2 different times, right? He got annihilated in the Miami game, had to come out. Then he got injured, which ended the season against the Raiders, right? Remember that? But then we had Tyrod Taylor in there. He played in 11 games. He started 5 of them. He missed time with injuries. And we had Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. He actually played 9 games that year. 9. He had 6 quarterback starts. Of course, then you have this year. It's just, I said with Eli, you can even go back to Eli, even back to Ole Miss. As I said, you remember his, he didn't miss any time due to injury. Yeah, with the Giants, yeah. And you can think back maybe to the 2011 championship game. He was getting pummeled by the 49ers. He'd be getting off the ground, his helmet be on twisted. He'd be looking out his ear hole, looking down. Was that, after he threw a pass, was that completed? Well, I had no idea what was, kept getting up. I mean, the way the guys are getting concussions nowadays, right? Kept playing. So now if you go back, I mean, you look at his even in college, right? That was in 2000. Was his first year at Ole Miss. He was a freshman. He played 6 games, right? Now he couldn't have started because he only threw 33 passes in 6 games. But in 2001, as a sophomore, he played in 11 games. Now, I didn't look to see if that was every one of their games. I don't know. But Ole Miss played in 11 games as a sophomore, right? But then his final 2 seasons, a junior and senior in 2002 and 2003, played in 13 games. So, he really didn't miss any time at all in college. Then he comes here and plays in the pros from 2004 to 19. I mean, it's like, the only time he missed time was when the coach said, no, don't go in. We're going to put somebody else in there for you. Never missed time to injury. It's just mind-boggling. And we can't even get guys to play 30 minutes nowadays without getting injured. Play when you could still drive the quarterback into the turf. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I mean, the rules they've definitely softened because, I mean, I remember like back when I was watching in the 70s, I mean, it was just, there was one, I remember there's one, there's a bunch of them. I mean, the one Larry Cole, Super Bowl 10, I believe it was. Yeah, Super Bowl 10. Larry Cole laid on Bradshaw. Bradshaw threw the pass. I think it was the one, I think it was the one down the middle where Swan caught for a touchdown. It was either that or it was the one down by the sideline where Swan was out of bounds, jumped back in, caught it, got his 2 feet in bounds, something like that. But he threw the ball. I mean, he can look it up on YouTube or whatever. He threw the ball, and as Bradshaw's throwing the ball, the camera angles from this side, right? So he's throwing the ball, right? But you can see past Bradshaw. Bradshaw's looking at you. In the background is Larry Cole, number 63 for the Cowboys, and he's coming at him, right? So as Bradshaw's throwing it, Bradshaw throws the ball. Cole just comes up, after he lets go, Cole comes up there, and like blasts him in his head. Oh man, you could just, I mean, some of the, I can't remember the guy named Turkey Jones, I think it was. He was for Cleveland. This was in the mid-'70s. Bradshaw, I think, threw a pass. Turkey Jones went in for the Cleveland. Game was played in Cleveland because I know it was on grass. Picks Bradshaw up and flips him over and literally dumps him on his head. I don't know how his head didn't, his neck didn't snap. It was just unbelievable. I remember there was another one. There was Johnny Unitas. This was obviously he was played against the Jets. So it wasn't the Super Bowl game. So it was probably early 70s. He played for the Colts against the Jets in 70, 71, and 72, because in 73 he went to the Chargers. But he threw a pass. He was playing against the Jets. He threw a pass, and he was looking at after he threw it, the guy for the Jets just took his arm and just slugged him upside. I mean, right across. There was no penalty on that. Nothing. That was football back then. Oh, yeah. Leonard Marshall hit on Montana. You can go on and on and on. I mean, there was another one. I can't remember what year it was. Might have been 60. Can't remember what year it was. Johnny Unitas once again. Glenn Parker. He's a Hall of Fame guard for the Colts. Good. They were playing the Bears. They were losing to the Bears. There was like, I don't know, half a minute to go in the game or something like that. They were down, whatever it was. They were down like 4 points or something like that. They were the 30, 40. They had to score a touchdown. And Johnny Unitas, they were playing on grass. Johnny Unitas threw a pass, and I think it was incomplete. Well, somehow Johnny Unitas only had one bar for face mask. So, this is just crazy. This is the way it was 60 years ago. So the guy, I can't remember who it was that beat Glenn Parker, the guard, but he whatever he did, he gave Johnny Unitas a shot or something like that, whatever. So Johnny Unitas, he was bleeding. his whole lip up here is all bleeding. And Glenn Parker, he's talking in this in his video. He's like, yeah, so what we did was we bent down, we got some mud from the field. We were pushing the mud up into his mouth to stop the bleeding. Nowadays, they got gloves on and they're putting gauze in here and this and swabbing it and disinfecting the whole area. And the guy, obviously nowadays, the guy has to come out of the game. Not then. No. Oh, absolutely not. So they're shoving mud up in the giant. There's a picture of it, too, showing he's bleeding from his face. It's just blood. You know what I mean? So I guess they're shoving mud up there to stop the blood, right? And the guard, Glenn Parker, said, I couldn't even look at him. He was bleeding so bad. I felt so bad. I couldn't even look at him. He was just so bad. So the doctor tells the Johnny Unitas, all right, come on, you got to come out. And Johnny Unitas said, Said, see how much time's left on the clock? I ain't coming out. Now, today, you have to come out. You would have to come out. You're bleeding. He's got blood on his, you got to come out, right? And you have to go into the blue tent, whatever. Not then. Nope. He said, no, I'm not. So you see how much climbs on it? He's freaking bleeding. He's got mud shoved up in his mouth to stop the blood. He's like, I'm not coming out. And he said, see how much time? It's like 20 seconds, something like that. So the very next play, he drops back the pass. I can't remember if it was Lenny Moore or Raymond Berry. Somebody hit him for a touchdown. They wound up winning the game. It was just crazy. Nowadays, I said, you got to come out. Back then, no, I'm not coming out. I mean, it's just crazy the way it was back then. Absolutely crazy. But you're right. I mean, I like it the way it is now because the amount of wear and tear the guys, all the games are playing and everything. Because when Johnny Unitas got injured that one time I was talking about with the blood, and they might have only been playing 12 games in the season, But I like it the way it is now, where they try to protect the guys to a certain extent, and all that and everything. Because protecting the quarterback is very, very, you like to see the hits, but it's important too because if most of these teams if they lose their starting quarterback, the season's over. Just almost forget about it. But just goes to show you, you're talking about the Leonard Marshall hit. Jim Burt knocked out Joe Montana in 1986 in the divisional round game when we won 49-3. You just kill some quarterbacks back then and just light them up. Oh my God. It's not like that nowadays. Yeah, not like that nowadays. I said, you can't even touch the quarterbacks nowadays, and we still losing quarterbacks. I'll tell you what, it makes you really, really appreciate Eli Manning a whole heck of a lot more. Then I saw this here. Of course, the big thing is, of course, Kirk Cousins. There's a bunch of bridge players that we can possibly get out there, and of course, he had that he came in one time. He's actually a couple times he said that. He said, "You like that? You like that?" Like after the game was over with, he I know one time he threw for over 500 yards. I think it was against the Bucs, and he started screaming, "You like that? You like that?" But he's going to be. Oh my God, he played 14 games. 100 million of his 180 is guaranteed, I think. But if they let him go before a certain time or whatever, they'll save $10 million or something like that. I'm going to read in his article. But basically, there's a good chance he played 14 games for the Falcons, made $90 million. Say. So basically at that rate, if he played a whole season, he would have made $100 million. It's just like, that's just crazy. That's absolutely freaking crazy. But as I said, I was kind of wondering. Falcons expected to release Kirk Cousins after just one season following a lackluster play. Cousins signed a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Falcons in March. When Kirk Cousins signed his 4-year, $180 million contract with the Falcons in March, no one expected that he would be benched before the end of his first season. With Cousins being benched for poor play and rookie Michael Penix Jr. taking his place, the Falcons are now expected to release the quarterback after the season, according to according to Adam Schefty, Cousins is owed $10 million roster bonus on March 17th. According to the report, executives across the NFL expect Cousins to be released before then to save themselves $10 billion. The Falcons do cut Cousins before March 17th and save the $10 million. They are still on the hook for most of Cousins' contract. Of Cousins' $180 million, $100 million is of it's guaranteed. If the Falcons do cut Cousins prior to next season, they're going to eat $65 million in dead cap, according to Spot Track. Cousins' cap hit for the next season would have been $40 million if he were still on the roster, but cutting him adds another $25 million to the Cousins' cap charge toward the Falcons' salary cap for next season. When rookie Michael Penix Jr. Set to start for Cousins on Sunday, Cousins will have been the most expensive bridge quarterback in NFL history. Cousins also has a no-trade clause, and according to report, he is not expected to waive it. So, the 36-year-old quarterback was reportedly frustrated that the Falcons had taken a quarterback with the 8th overall pick in the draft last season, picking Cousins' eventual replacement instead of a player who could help them win now. Cousins' frustrations with how things were handled have executives believing that the quarterback is not going to do the team any favors and waive his no-trade clause, according to the report. Cousins will be in a similar situation this offseason as Russell Wilson was last offseason if he is in fact released. Wilson was released by the Broncos last offseason, yet the team is still paying him $53 million this season, according to Spot Track. Wilson signed a one-year league minimum contract with the Steelers. Now, once again, how benefit, it's like a league minimum, right? Deal with the Steelers. Obviously the Giants would not be going with all the injuries we have and all that. The Giants would not be going to the promised land. But if we had Daniel Jones and we released him and we had on a league minimum Russell Wilson. I think the quarter. I'm not saying once again. I'm not saying we're going to the playoffs. I'm not saying we're going to Super Bowl. But our quarterback play would be a little bit better. And on the league minimum, too. That's because the Broncos are paying the lion's share of his salary. So we could have got Russell Wilson for like next to nothing this year. Right? Could have brought him in, kicked the tires on him, and it's like, see if he would be our maybe bridge quarterback or something like that or whatever. But another great Shane move with Wilson. The league, it's not like we had to bring him in and sign him to 15 or 20 million. It's like, I don't know. That's a heck of an expensive backup quarterback. I don't know. But a league minimum, yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Is this one? Cousins will be in position to sign a league veteran contract with another team like Wilson while still being paid by the Falcons not to play for them. So, through 9 games, things were going swimmingly for Cousins and the Falcons. They were 6-3 and atop the NFC South. Now the team is 7-7. Actually, they just won, so they were 6-3. They went to 6-7, and then they beat literally. I'm going to quite possibly say, the worst team, because the Raiders might be worse than the Giants. Hard to believe, I know, but. So they finally beat, and the Raiders, 15-9. They snapped their 4-game losing streaks. Now they're 7-7. But that puts them right back in, because I think the Bucs are 8-6. So they got a shot here at winning the division. The Falcons beat the Raiders 15-9 on Monday, snapping the skid, but Cousins played poorly in the win, prompting head coach Raheem Morris to make the change. Cousins has completed almost 67% of his passes for 3,500 yards. Really, really good numbers. 18 touchdowns. So he would have had over 20 touchdown passes, which is still not phenomenal if you're paying the guy $45 million a year. But he had 16 interceptions. In addition to throwing 16 interceptions, Cousins has 12 fumbles, which is tied for the most in the NFL with Baker Mayfield. Across the last 5 games, Cousins has thrown 1 touchdown with 9 interceptions. I mean, he's just, It sounds like Kirk Cousins will force the Falcons to pay up to make him go away. The breakup between Cousins and the Falcons is going to be ugly, costly, and public. Does not seem as if Cousins is going to do the Falcons any favors. If you'll recall, the multi-year deal Kirk Cousins signed in March includes a no-trade clause that he could wield. And after Atlanta blindsided Cousins by drafting, heir apparent Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick in last April's draft, there is no reason to believe Kirk will want to do the organization a solid and waive it to facilitate a move that will help the team get off the hook for some of the money owed. Now, I mean, I don't know, after saying, how he's played this year, who's going to really want to trade for him, but you never know. Ultimately, the expectation is that the Falcons will end up paying Cousins $90 million to play 14 games with the team and be done with him before his $10 million roster bonus kicks in on March 17th. If we could only get a $90 million parting gift on our way out of the door. Not bad, huh? Play 14 games and get $90 million. Jesus, God. What's next for Kirk Cousins and the Falcons? There is 0 chance that the Falcons find a trade partner for Cousins. Nope. And Cousins would waive his no trade protection to accept. Maybe the unnamed executives in Schefter's reporting are leveraging this situation to sweeten the trade pot and limit the flexibility the Falcons will have this offseason. I just can't imagine Atlanta ponying up more than $27 million to keep Cousins as a backup. Absolutely not. That's just crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. But, I mean, it kind of leads you to, so there's definitely some, bridge quarterbacks to talk about here, right? So you got the ones now, according this is to this report anyway. The Giants don't have any quarterbacks under contract for next season. How cool is that? But Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan is an exclusive rights free agent. That means basically if the Giants offer him a contract, he must sign it. He can't say, well, let me go test the free agent market. Let me see if I can get something. No. He has to sign it. So, I mean, the Giants going to get him or whatever, $900,000, $1 million, so they can get him on the cheap if they want him. Now, of course, if Shane and or Daboll want to leave him, he may not come back because, if a new coach comes in, if they don't know if they're going to want him or not. But, if Tommy is still here, next year, they can sign him and get him on the cheap. But, I mean, as of right now, nobody is signed. Right? Drew Lock's not. Obviously, Daniel Jones is gone. Boyle's not. And DeVito's not. And the quarterbacks. So also that's something to keep in mind, too, when you look at the salary cap that the Giants have next year. It's, we don't have any quarterbacks. That could be a problem. Of course, if you draft one, even if you draft, say, Shador, say number 1 overall, I think that's around $10 million a year. I mean, so that's far, far from paying somebody $40 or $50 million a year. But, I mean, there are some bridge quarterbacks that the Giants could look at. Obviously, it's got to take 2 to tango, right? Just because the Giants, I'm just throwing a name out there. Calm down. Say the Giants go after Russell Wilson, right? Bring him in. That's the take 2 to tango. The Giants can't go to Russell and say, well, we're going to sign you for 1 year. Because we're drafting number 1, right? We're going to draft so-and-so, so we're going to bring you in, then we're going to let you go. So, Russell could say, yeah, or he could say no. He might want to go someplace where he has a chance maybe to hang around. He has a chance where he's going to be there maybe 2 years or something like that. He may not want to. He's been bouncing. He went from Seattle. He was in Denver for a short period of time. That was in Pittsburgh. He may not want to be in Cincinnati the next year, and in Cleveland the next year, and in Buffalo, then Miami. He doesn't want to. He might want to sign a couple-year contract or something like that. So it's going to take 2 to tango. But what the heck we had here? So according to this report, Even with drafting a quarterback surely in their plans as the Giants tumble toward a top 2 pick, they still will need to add a veteran bridge insurance policy. There will be a wide range of flawed options, yes, available depending on how much the Giants want to invest in the most important position on the roster, the most important position in all of sports. Of course, just to report, they said the top dollar options would be, apparently according to them, Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson. Now, I mean, the thing is, you have to look at, like, with Sam Darnold, I mean, boy, it looks like the best out of the backups. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the guy, I mean, he went in there. He never threw passes to any of these guys. He never threw passes to Slayton, Wando Robinson, Malik. They didn't throw passes to any of those guys. I mean, that's helpful. That's some helpful stuff, right? And he did good. I mean, he completed. I'm gonna forget this, but I think he completed passes of 25 and 23, or 23 and 22, or something like that. He completed a 17-yard pass, 2 16-yard passes. I mean, he was pushing the ball down the field. And he just came in off the sideline and just, 123 yards. I mean, you double that. That's almost 250 yards for a game. Not bad. Behind a porous offensive line and all that and everything. And the other team knows you got to throw the football on it, Right? So, but I'm saying, I mean, that's, they're all putting out their resume. And there might be something after the season's over with, right? Daboll might say, well, the guy didn't do too bad for us. Let's see if Boyle might want to come back. Right? Who knows? But according to this report, they got, they say Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson are the top 2 most expensive. Now you gotta look what Darnold is. Is he really that good, or is it just a system? Is everybody healthy there in Minnesota? He's got some really good weapons to throw the ball, though. Of course, Mr. Jefferson is off the freaking charts. That guy. I said, look what Darnold did with the Jets and Carolina. Wasn't too good, but he's really doing good in Minnesota. So it's like, so is he gonna parlay his hand of cards that he did in Minnesota into a big time contract and just tank? I mean, interesting. But according to this report, there's Russell Wilson or the Sam Darnold are the most expensive bridge quarterbacks. Then they got Justin Fields and Jameis Winston are the middle, right? Now, Winston, I've said it all the time. Winston's really, really good. He can throw you into any game, but he can also throw you out of any game, right? I mean, he could put up 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, right? I mean, you're going to get some good. You're going to get yards from Winston. You're going to get some touchdowns, but you're also going to get some turnovers. It is what it is. You got to accept what you're going to get. So you got and Justin Fields. I mean, maybe Justin Fields just needs with the Bears and then it was with the Steelers. I mean, it's just maybe he needs just someplace else, a fresh start someplace else might do him good with some better weapons. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But he won't cost you a ton of money. Then they also said they have this report here, right? The cheap options, right? Is they got Drew Lock, right? I don't even know Drew would want to come back. I'll have to wait and see. I don't know. They got Joe Flacco. I don't even know if he's even going to be playing next year, but Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, and Mac Daddy Jones. Now, I'm not so sure about Mac Daddy Jones, but just so Jacoby Brissett is a fine backup option. He would be relatively cheap. He can certainly start the games for you. That's for sure. He can certainly be a good, decent bridge quarterback for you. But the thing is, it's do you want to get it cheap? I mean, obviously, after the season's all over with here, the Giants got to see where they're drafting at. They're drafting in the top 2, and they like both those quarterbacks, like Shador and Cam Ward, right? Then they can go for maybe a cheaper option at bridge quarterback. Because it's like, well, let's take one of the cheaper bridge option quarterbacks because we have our quarterback of the future. The Giants were to win a football game and fall to 5th, 6th, 7th or whatever, something, fall out of the quarterback race, right? And then they would have to take maybe a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. Well, then they might want to get one of those higher bridge options where they might have to get a quarterback in there for a couple years, maybe go out and maybe see if they can get Russell Wilson maybe for a couple years, while they still find their quarterback in the future. So it's, a lot of it depends, also on how the Giants finish their season, where they're going to wind up drafting at. It could be where they only like Shador. It's Shador or nothing. And the Giants are drafting number 2, and the Raiders are drafting number 1, and the Raiders maybe take Shador, and the Giants we don't like Cam Ward. We don't think, or Daboll and Shane said we don't like him, so we maybe might have to go out and maybe get Russell Wilson or something like that. Sign him to a couple-year deal because we still need to find our quarterback in the future. So a lot of it's going to depend upon where the Giants fall and all that and everything. But there are some quarterbacks out there. There are always quarterbacks out there. But the Giants, none of them apparently going to take the Giants to the promised land or anything like that. A lot of it's got to wait as soon as the season's over with, right, to wait and see where the Giants finish in the draft, because then they can look back and they can look and say, where are we? What quarterbacks can we draft? Right. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 32 minutes. Very G-Man, thanks for hanging in there with me, brother. Great talking to you, pal. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.